Hey everybody, Netflix gives an option to skip OPs, but I think that shouldn't be the case. When you get a good OP, it feels like the show is so much better, even though it doesn't really seem like it should be that way. When an OP is mediocre, it makes the experience feel a bit rough around the edges and less of a tight experience. And more often than not, the anime that you're about to watch blasts a generic J-pop song for about 1 to 2 minutes with matching visuals. I actually like a few of these cookie cutter OPs, but in these cases, it typically involves both the song and the visuals being top notch. I've been watching Sound Euphonium, which is a great anime. It's all about music and specifically a badass concert band with multiple amazing performances throughout the show. However, both OPs are backed with generic J-pop songs, which feels like an absolute missed opportunity. Why not use an orchestral track to make it more relevant to the show, which I additionally think would make it stand out from the plethora of other J-pop anime OPs. That brings me to what I believe comprises the elements of a good OP. Number 1, the animation plus the song, which also includes the thematic style that may be changed in the OP. Number 2, individuality. And number 3, relevancy, which may include how well the animation and the song mesh together. Ideally, an OP should look something like this. Good opening sequence animation can range from high production to new or interesting portrayals of the show. Animators and editors may have more freedom or restrictions due to the short and quick nature of the sequence. But why does individuality and relevancy have stakeholders in this pie chart? This is a tight balance. Should studios make OPs more unique to the detriment of its relevancy to the show? Does the restraint of relevancy sometimes restrict the innovation of OPs? I'd say it's hard to find an OP that completely fails to catch the crux of an anime. Though I'd say it's much more common to find OPs that fail the anime in a completely different department, the boring department. Why not make an OP not boring by making it stand out, while of course still trying to remain relevant to the show? OPs can have enough pizzazz in its animation or song to be worth watching, but in these situations, the animation or song has to be really, really good. So why not spread the burden across 4 categories to increase the chance of success? This brings me to the pop epidemic. My brother and I were talking about the evolution of pop music the other week, and why perhaps it has had a greater effect on current OPs rather than the OPs themselves. Then we sat down and listened to groovy 80s anime OPs, which proved the conjecture. Instruments dared to sound distinct and experimental back in the olden days, and often you'll get simple songs where each of them were meaningful. Since anime has continued to use pop songs in the OPs, it seems a ton of anime OPs sound almost identical, namely in the vocals and structure of the songs. The entire genre used to be more diverse, conversely making the OPs diverse as well. K-On! Demonstrates Sound Euphonium's lost potential. All of K-On!'s opening songs are performed by the characters from the show, which instantly gives me more of a reason to care about it, as this getting added mid-season reinforces the fact that the OP feels more of a part of the show rather than an afterthought. A lot of the best tracks for OPs are often made when studios bring musicians in to make songs that properly match the show. Welcome to the NHK has my favourite anime opening, and Puzzle by Roundtable and Nino greatly contributes to the sound of Welcome to the NHK. What I mean by this is, if the show were to be music, that's what it would sound like. Excuse my lazy analysis, but I'll explain a bit more. The key feature of the song is undoubtedly the trumpet. In spite of the generally optimistic instrumental, the trumpet at the end of each chorus gently moves back down the B-flat major scale. Well, it's a pop song, but it's a great pop song at that, made by recognised artists with fantastic lyrics, not to mention the sexy trumpet. The animation is jam-packed with symbols and key moments from the show, which are expertly analysed in this Mother's Basement video, so I will leave the link to that in the description. This part perfectly encapsulates my favourite character, and this part is so effective through its imagery and efficient by crucially matching the beats in the song. Toradora's pre-parade gets its kicks from being so different from what the rest of the show has to offer. You're hit with a fairly typical J-pop sound, but its tempo directly contrasts the mundane nature of the show. Impressively, the OP provides a fun concept of being pre-prepared for all and any social situation. This is made even better by the idea's connection to the first half of the season, in which the OP is played. In doing so, Pre-Parade outlines the tonal shift of the show when it's replaced in the second half of the season. And then there's Ping Pong, where the OP's animation perfectly represents the art style of the show whilst completely reinventing it into something that makes you wish there was more of. This is perhaps the poster child of a good OP, nailing every criteria and eating the pie chart for dinner. I do not need words to describe the badassery on screen right now, seamlessly moving from the sharp, up-close and personal shots, to the faded ping pong tables, to the frighteningly janky portrayals of the characters that we have just seen in the same OP, whilst doing so with barely any colour and keeping the same high energy that is created from the backing track. After all this, I wonder why I've spent all this time focusing on something on the peripheries of anime. Anywho, thanks for watching.